Learning disability. So what is learning disability? A learning disability is a neurological condition which affects the brain's ability to send, receive, and process information. A child with a learning disability may have difficulties in reading, writing, speaking, listening, understanding mathematical concepts, and with general comprehension. Take note that learning disabilities are not caused due to physical or mental illness, economic condition, or cultural background. Neither do they indicate that a child is weak or lazy. So, understood that otherwise, that walang bata o walang taong bobo. It's just that they are weak or lazy. The federal definition of learning disabilities laid down by the U.S. government in Public Law 94 to 142 has been adopted in India. Specific learning disability means a disorder in one or more of the basic psychological processes involved in understanding or in using language, spoken or written, which may manifest itself in an imperfect ability to listen, speak, read, spell, or to do mathematical calculation. The term includes such conditions as perceptual handicaps, brain injury, minimal brain dysfunction, dyslexia, and development aphasia. The term does not include children who have learning problems which are primarily the result of visual, hearing, or motor handicaps, or mental retardation, emotional disturbance, or environmental, cultural, or economic disadvantages. So next, how can we define if the child has a learning disability or does not have? So some children begin as slow learners but are eventually able to learn and cope with their studies and other activities. Some children may not be interested in specific types of learning such as learning a new language, a specific activity or skill or academic subject, or may not be interested in sports or other outdoor activities. These attributes indicate the child's interest and not indicative of a learning disability. According to James Wendorf, an executive director of National Center for Learning Disabilities, stigma, underachievements, and misunderstanding of LD continue to be stubborn barriers for parents and children to overcome. If a learning disability is left unaddressed, millions of individuals risk being left behind, burdened by low esteem, subjected to low expectations, and diminished in their ability to pursue their dreams. The following that I am going to discuss are a group of disorders of learning disabilities. Number 1 is dyslexia. It is a learning disorder that involves difficulty reading due to problems identifying speech sounds and learning how they relate to letters and words. It also affects areas of brain that process language. Next is dyspraxia. It is a common disorder that affects movement and coordination. It does not affect your intelligence, but it can affect your coordination skills such as tasks requiring balance, playing sports, or learning to drive a car. Next is dyscalculia. It is a term referring to a wide range of difficulties with the math, including weaknesses in understanding the meaning of numbers and difficulty applying mathematical principles to solve problems. Dysgraphia. It is characterized by the person having difficulty converting the sounds of language into written form, phonemes into graphemes, or knowing which alternate spelling to use for each sound. So, what causes learning disabilities? Number 1 is heredity. It is observed that a child whose parents had a learning disability is likely to develop the same disorder. Second is illness during and after birth. An illness or injury during or after birth may cause learning disabilities. Other possible factors could be drug or alcohol consumption during pregnancy, physical trauma, poor growth in uterus, low birth weight, and premature or prolonged labors. Next will be stress during infancy. A stressful incident after birth, such as high fever, head injury, or poor nutrition. Environment. It increases exposure to toxins such as lead in paint, ceramics, toys, etc. Comorbidity. Children with learning disabilities are at a higher than risk for attention problems, disruptive or behavior disorders. Up to 25% of children with reading disorders also have ADHD. Conversely, it is estimated that between 15 and 30% of children diagnosed with ADHD have learning disorder.
What are the signs of learning disabilities? So the signs of learning disabilities may vary slightly during each stage of childhood. Preschool, developing speaking skills at normal age, 15 to 18 months when speech typically develops in children. Pronouncing simple words, recognizing letters and words, learning numbers, rhymes or songs, concentrating on tasks, following rules and directions, using fine or gross motor skills to do physical tasks. Primary school, connecting letters and sounds, differentiating between similar sounding words or rhyming words, reading, spelling or writing accurately, distinguishing right from left, for example, confusing 25 with 52, B with D, on with no, and as with 5. Recognizing letters of the alphabet, using correct mathematical symbols for doing math problems, remembering number or facts, learning new skills. The child may be slower than other children of his or her age. Memorizing poems and answers, understanding the concept of time, hand-to-eye coordination, being unable to gauge the distance or speed, thus leading to accidents. Tasks involving fine motor skills, holding pencil, tying shoelace, buttoning shirt, and so on. Keeping track of own possessions like stationery, times. In middle school, spelling similar words, see, week, usage of prefixes and suffixes, reading aloud, writing assignments, solving word problems in maths. The child may avoid doing tasks involving these skills. Handwriting, child may grip the pencil tightly. Memorizing or recalling facts, understanding body language and facial expressions. Showing appropriate emotional reactions in learning environment, the child may behave in an aggressive or rebellious way and react with an excess of emotion. In high school, spelling words accurately, the child may write the same word with different spellings in a single writing assignment. Reading and writing tasks, summarizing, paraphrasing, answering application problems or questions in tests. Poor memory, adjusting to new surroundings, understanding abstract concepts, focusing consistently. The child may lack concentration on some tasks while focusing excessively on others. How is learning disabilities identified? So identifying a learning disability is a complex process. The first step is to rule out vision, hearing, and developmental issues that can overshadow the underlying learning disability. Once these tests are completed, a learning disability is identified using psychoeducational assessment, which includes academic achievement testing along with a measure of intellectual capability. The test helps determine if there is any significant discrepancy capability or IQ and the child's academic achievement or school performance. What are the intervention and support options for learning disabilities? A learning disability cannot be cured. However, with timely intervention and support, children with learning disabilities can be successful in school. Parents and teachers are the first persons to notice that the child's finding it difficult to read, write, or learn. If you think that your child have a learning disability, seek help from a mental health expert or other trained specialist for the required intervention program or therapy. If your child has a learning disorder, your child's doctor or school might recommend extra help. A reading specialist or other trained professional can teach your child techniques to improve his or her academic skills. Tutors can also teach children organizational and study skills. Next is Individualized Education Program or EIP. Your child's school or special doctor might develop an EIP that will describe how a child can best learn in school. Next is therapy. Depending on the learning disorder, some children might benefit from therapy. For example, speech therapy can help children who have language disabilities. Occupational therapy might help improve the motor skills or a child who has writing problems. Last is the complementary or alternative therapy. Shows the alternative therapies like music, art, and dance can benefit children with learning disabilities.